Hi, you guys. Sorry, I'm a minute late here. Again, was having a little bit of technical difficulties, more with just internet connection. So hopefully this isn't coming to you too choppy. Um, Welcome to the Tuesday Children's Message with me, Kelly. Glad you are. Hopefully you're joining us now or you'll join us later. I just hope that you enjoy the message and that you're having a good day. And I hope that you all had a good Easter. It probably felt different and looked different than normal, and that might have made you a little sad or mad. You might have also had a great day, and that's okay. It's also okay to sort of feel bad that it's not the same, but find joy in how it was. So I hope that you joined us for our Easter service. I was there, so if you did, we had a wonderful group of people helping us out, and just want to thank them, all of them, everyone who has participated in that service. Thank you. So we are going to talk a little bit today about questions and doubts. I have been asking myself this question a lot yesterday. I was asking myself, now what? Easter's done. I was kind of busy with making sure the Easter stuff would be ready and how we were going to do Lent and Holy Week. And we know that we're going to be in our homes for a few more weeks at least. So now what? And just been asking myself that question a lot. Maybe you're kind of asking yourself that. You guys are back to school today, so you probably have some things to keep you busy, and that's good. But what's life going to be like for the next few weeks and beyond? So I'm sure we all have a lot of those questions. So we're going to start with a story about another group of people who also had lots of questions. And if you think about Easter and Jesus being raised from the dead and not being in the tomb, and we celebrate that, and it's a wonderful day, and it's a wonderful thing to be thinking about and talking about. But what happened next? The disciples didn't know yet that Jesus was raised from the dead. They just had to kind of sit there and go, what next? So this story is about Jesus appearing to his disciples, and in particular to Thomas, who really wasn't real sure. He really needed to be convinced that this was Jesus and that this was really happening. He had doubts. He had questions. So we're going to read the story from our Spark Bible, or Spark Story Bible, I should say. Sometimes I'm using the Spark Story Bible. Sometimes I'm using our regular Bible. And so the story is about doubting Thomas. Gotta move over here. So the disciples were hiding in a house the night Jesus rose from the dead. They were afraid. Bam! They locked all the doors. Jesus suddenly came and stood by them. Peace be with you, he said. The disciples looked up in surprise. Jesus showed them his hands and his side so that they would know it was him. The disciples were happy. Again, Jesus said to them, peace be with you. God has sent me to you. Now it's your turn to go tell the rest of the world about me. Jesus breathed on them in a very special way. He said, with this breath, I will always be in your hearts, even when I am in heaven. You now have the power to do the things I've asked you to do. Thomas was the only disciple not there that night. When he got back, the others excitedly told him about Jesus. And look at his face. His face is kind of like, no, I do not believe you. You are not telling me the truth. I don't believe you, Thomas said. I'll believe you when I can touch Jesus' wounds. A week later, Thomas and the other disciples were in the same house. Jesus came again and stood with them. Peace be with you, he said to them. Thomas, Jesus commanded, come here, give me your hands. Put your finger on the wounds in my hand. Put your hand by the wound on my side. Do not doubt any more. It is time for you to believe. And you can kind of see, it's really hard to move this. Okay. I would not be a good weather person. I cannot move backwards. You can see Thomas's face here. He's pretty surprised. He's got the big eyes, like, oh my goodness, now I believe. Thomas's eyes popped. My Lord and my God, he exclaimed. Jesus answered him, you believe because I am here with you and you've seen me. Think of those who have not seen me, but believe in me anyway. You should believe, even when you cannot see it for yourself. So, Jesus appears to his disciples. He shows them. He appears to Thomas. He shows him. And he helps them to believe and to not be scared. He knew what they were feeling. He knew about their doubts. He knew about their questions. And he gave them what they needed. Now, just for fun, we're going to do a little true and false game. So if you're with me right now, you can follow along with my true and false game and see if you can get all the answers right. If you don't, that's okay. But if you think the answer is true, you're going to give a thumbs up. And if you think it's false, you're going to give a thumbs down. And then I'll give you a second to think about it. And then I'll tell you if it's a thumbs up or thumbs down, if it's true or false. So let's see how you do. There's 4 questions. So the first question is, think about the story that we just read. True or false? Jesus was mad at Thomas for doubting. Do you think that's true or do you think it's false? And that is false. That is false. Jesus was not mad at Thomas. Jesus understood that Thomas needed to see him, needed to touch him. And he allowed him to do that. He helped him to believe. Okay, the next question. The disciples hid in a locked room after Jesus died because it was dangerous to be a follower of Jesus. That's true or false? And again, that is true. There you go. Okay. So true. It was dangerous to be a follower of Jesus at that time. They were scared. They said, well, people might want to capture us and hurt us. So they were hiding. Okay, another question. Jesus knocked on the door and they let him in. You remember from the story, is that true or false? And that is a false. So Jesus just appeared to them. The door was locked and they were hiding, but suddenly Jesus was with them. So that helped them to believe as well. Okay, the last question. Jesus says to the disciples, peace be with you. Is it true or false? Do you remember what he said to them? And that is true. That is exactly what Jesus said to them. A couple times he says it in the story from our Spark storybook. And we will talk a little bit more about that on Thursday. We're going to kind of continue talking about this story on Thursday. And we'll talk a little bit more about peace. And what does peace be with you really mean? So hope you'll tune in for that on Thursday. So back to our story and the fact that those disciples had so many questions, right? And I can just imagine what the questions were after Jesus appeared to them. They must have been just bombarding him with questions. I know I would be. I don't know, though, some of those questions, what do you think they might have been? You can think about what those questions might have been. It doesn't talk about it in the Bible, but I'm pretty sure that those disciples had lots of questions for Jesus. So maybe they wondered, why did you have to die, Jesus? Maybe they wondered, how long are you going to be with us? Are you going to stay with us now forever, or will you be leaving again? Maybe they asked, how long do we have to stay here? How long do we have to be in our homes and stay here? And what now? That was probably one of their big questions. What now? And Jesus helps them. Jesus helps them and gives them some answers. Of course, Thomas had lots of questions too, because he wasn't with them when Jesus first appeared. So he didn't know. And he doubted. And so we question and we doubt too, at lots of different times in our lives, and especially at times like this, where things are different and things are hard. So what questions and doubts do you have? I know I've thought about some of the questions that I have. I question, when can I go back to church? When can we be all together again? When can I see my friends? When am I going to be able to visit family again? Will I get sick? That's a question I have. Will someone I love get sick and really get sick and maybe die? I don't know. Those are questions that I have. And I have doubts. And it's okay for you guys to have doubts too. Kind of wonder, some days, what is there to be happy about? This is hard. What is there to be happy about? And I might doubt, hey God, where are you in all this? I see lots of different things happening, but are you really with us? And I might think, even, God, if you love us, why are you doing this? Why is this happening? Those are all real doubts and real questions. And as a family, I think it's important to talk about those things. So on the Children, Youth, and Family page, I will be posting some family questions that you can ask around this story. And one of them being, what questions do parents have? You don't have to have the answers. You just have to be able to name them, name those questions and doubts, put them out there for God to work in your lives and to help you work through those things. And what helps you to still believe? Right now, it's important that we all remember why we still believe, because it's okay to do both and. We can have doubts, we can have questions, and we can still fully believe. I believe that Jesus is my Savior. I believe in God, but I still have questions and doubts. And that's okay. We can have both and. So I want, I hope families will do that. We'll have those conversations at dinner tonight or later throughout the week. And again, I'll post those questions on our Facebook page. So, reminder that the doubts and the questions are not new. People have had doubts and questions for a long, long time. Back to Jesus's disciples, right? And God can take all those doubts and questions, and you just bring them to him and lay them at his feet. And he is big enough. He loves you even with the doubts and the questions. So we're going to do a song to help us remember that we can still believe even when we have doubts and questions. And that will be, we're going to sing, I believe, I still believe, or I do believe. I believe, I do believe. And I'll do a repeat after me, and then we'll sing it together. We're just going to do the chorus, and maybe we'll add the verses as we go into Thursday. But we'll start by snapping our hands, snapping our fingers. And I'll say, I believe, I do believe, truly I believe it. Sing that. And I say, truly I believe it, truly I believe it. I believe, I do believe, truly I believe it. Truly I believe it, truly I believe it. So let's sing that all together. Snap fingers. 1, 2, 3, 4. I believe, I do believe, truly I believe it. Truly I believe it, truly I believe it. I believe, I do believe, truly I believe it. Truly I believe it, truly I believe it. So you can sing that song today, kind of get it in your head and help you remember. You can believe in Jesus, believe in God, and still have those doubts and those questions. It's okay. So we're going to close with a prayer, and this is going to be an emoji prayer. So, kind of funny, we're going to make some emoji faces while we say our prayer. So the first face that we'll make is an afraid face. So if you think of the emojis that we use on our phone, there might be like a big eyes like this, or it might be like that's an afraid. And you can laugh at me. It's okay. As I'm making these faces, feel free to laugh at me. So here's our afraid. Okay, and then we're also going to do like a doubting face, like a questioning face. Kind of the one where, We'll do a peace sign. There's a peace sign emoji. Then we'll end with a doubting face again. So, you'll do the prayer with me. Make those faces along with the prayer. Jesus, sometimes we are afraid. Sometimes we don't believe. Thank you for bringing us peace, even when we doubt. Amen. So I hope you have a good rest of your day. I hope you tune in on Thursday with me, and we'll continue to talk about the things that Jesus talked to his disciples about right after he was raised from the dead, giving them comfort and letting them know, here's what's next. Here's what now. So I hope you have some good family discussions, and I'll see you Thursday. Bye, you guys.